Welcome back to Casiano Travels.
Home of the family that lives by car and plane.
I'm MJ.
I'm Christine.
And I'm Kashi. And we also have Carter over here. We have a new addition to the family.
Addition.
Surprise.
Surprise.
He's our new little bug. We had one heck of a year. This last year did not come easy.
Yeah, Carter did not come as easy as we had planned.
I come in easy.
And with that being said, Christine had a pretty rough year herself. That's why we haven't been posting as many videos as we had hoped. So hopefully the rest of this video can explain where we've been. January 2022. We got the gender envelope for baby number 2, and we decided to have a very private and intimate opening, just the 3 of us. All right,
Go home.
we got the boy or the girl right here. Cash, you want a brother or sister?
I guess a sister. I go up. I got a belly inside my boy.
I don't know what that means, but we're gonna go with. All right.
I said that.
All right, are you ready?
Oh my god, wait, what do you think it is?
I think it's a boy.
I think it is too.
Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. It's a boy. You're gonna have a little brother.
Yes. Just be quiet.
You're gonna have a brother.
That is so pronounced.
Are you excited? Boy, B-O-W.
Yay!
February 2022. Just a few short weeks after finding out that our second child was a boy, and a few weeks post-COVID, Christine had an asthma attack. One that was so bad that it sent her to the ER. The doctors in the ER wanted to keep her overnight for some evaluations, and I personally thought she'd maybe get an inhaler or some type of medicine and be on her way. The next morning I planned on getting Cash ready for school, dropping him off, and working at the hospital to comfort her and make her laugh and just bring a smile to her face. Except it didn't get to that point. When I woke up the next morning, I woke up to about 50 text messages and about 10 voicemails, all from her nurse, and they frantically got worse by the minute. Some of the messages from the texts and the voicemails from the nurse were, "We don't know if Christine's gonna make it to the next day. Why aren't you answering your phone? You need to get up here immediately." It was single-handedly the worst thing I've ever woken up to. Unfortunately, at the time, there was a COVID guest policy that only allowed the spouse of the person in the hospital to come visit, which meant no Cash. So I had to frantically get him ready to drop him off at daycare and speed 30 minutes from my house to the hospital. It was the worst drive of my life. I don't cry very often, but I cried the entire 30-minute drive. When I got there, Christine was bent over with an oxygen mask, nurses and doctors surrounding her, and they told me to give her a long, long hug, which I did. When I pulled away from the hug, the look on her face said everything. She didn't know if she was gonna live. Maybe 30 seconds after that hug, they called a code blue, and I was pushed out of the room, and about 12 doctors, nurses, and physicians all rushed to the scene. It was frantic. All I could hear was yelling and directions being thrown at multiple different people. From outside the room in the hallway, that was the worst place and the last place I ever wanted to be during something like that. I did not know what was going on or what the reason was for the code blue. All I knew was that nurses were coming up to me, putting their hand on me, praying for me and giving me hugs, which made me believe that something very, very bad was taking place in there. Christine was very quickly heading to respiratory failure. In order to save her life, the doctors put her on a ventilator, but her blood had too much carbon dioxide, so they recommended ECMO. ECMO is the highest level of life support there is, and if you don't live off that, there's nothing else they can do for you. Without insurance, this comes in at about $75K a day out of pocket. This procedure is very invasive. The main tube goes through the neck and straight to the heart. The machine then spins out all the bad in the blood and returns all of the good. Depending on what doctor you talk to, Christine had a 5 to 10 to 25% chance to live. The odds were not in her favor. Nor were they in Carter's. Carter was given a 1 to 5% chance to live based on different doctors' opinions. Certain doctors actually believed Carter's best chance at living would be to do an emergency C-section, but there would have been a long stay in the NICU and very likely mental and physical handicaps. March 2022. Christine was lifeless and in a coma for about a week until she wasn't. This was her first sign of life since she had flatlined. At this point, Christine had stared death in the face and beat it. When we left the ICU, our nurse had told us a little secret. She said she had had about 30 pregnant women that went on ECMO and a ventilator within the last 2 to 3 years, and Christine was the only one that survived. But we weren't out of the woodworks yet. The doctors thought she had preeclampsia with severe features. So they wanted to keep a close eye on her in the hospital until she gave birth, which could be another 15 plus weeks. Immediately after being removed from the ICU, the OB-GYNs were telling us to prepare for a possible early delivery. We were truly living minute to minute, hour to hour. But in the meantime, Christine had to relearn how to use all her vital muscles. She had to relearn how to walk. She had to relearn how to talk. And on top of that, Cash and Christine hadn't seen each other in weeks, and they both missed each other like crazy.
I love you, Mommy.
April 2022. The scars and pain were insufferable. But it was all worth a second chance at life. The hospital had finally changed their COVID guest policy, which meant friends got to come visit, family, and even little Cashy, who hadn't seen his mom in weeks.
Mommy!
I missed you. You look so cute.
How you doing, Cassie?
Yeah.
You want to see your mama?
Yeah.
I miss you. I miss you. How are you?
You can sit on her lap. Do you want to sit on her
You
lap?
can sit right here.
Yeah. My doctor is too.
He said the doctor is there. All right, lift up. There you go. Unfortunately for Cash, they gave him a 2-hour limit twice a week to see his mom. So there was a lot of this. Nothing a little ice cream and Chuck E. Cheese and Snuggles couldn't help.
Yeah.
Mwah. May 2022. Things were looking up for us, but it certainly did not come easy. Christine was still diagnosed with preeclampsia, and because of that, they still would not let her leave the hospital. She was a true prisoner within her own confines. For me, I was back at work, trying to balance a very demanding job, mixed with being at the hospital every free second I had, and trying to solo parent our son Cash outside of the hospital. Every day felt like a hamster running nonstop on a hamster wheel. But all of us knew very soon we'd be back together again outside of the hospital, living our absolute best life. June 2022. June was all about prepping for the birth of baby Carter. Carter's original birth date was supposed to be June 25th, but we knew because of Christine's preeclampsia diagnosis, he was going to come a lot sooner than we anticipated. On June 4th, 2022, Carter Banks Casiano was brought into this world at 7 pounds and 1.4 ounces, which crazy enough is right about where his brother Cash was born at. The only difference is Cash was full term and Carter was born 3 weeks early at 37 weeks. Despite all the severe trauma Carter went through with lack of nutrition, radiation, lots of meds that he shouldn't have been around, and lack of oxygen at Christine's lowest breathing peak, Carter received an APGAR score of 8.5, which is about as good as you can get, with no mental or physical handicaps. After 4 months of being locked inside the hospital, Christine was finally able to go home.
Who is that? Look, Cassie. Look at his
A
eyes.
baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
Look at his eyes.
so excited.
Yeah.
Goodness.
How cute.
You give him a hug
Give him a hug, Cassie.
and a kiss.
Aww.
Present day. This last year made us realize how delicate and quick our time on Earth is. So we vow to spend the rest of our days making tons and tons of memories. Life certainly comes fast.